They have destroyed Minnesota, okay? Minnesota, you have an incompetent governor. You have a crooked governor. He's crooked as hell, but he's incompetent. Walz he should be ashamed. That beautiful land, that beautiful state, it's a hellhole right now. And the Somalians should be out of here. They've destroyed our country.
President Trump has intensified crackdown on the Somali migrants, more so in Minnesota, based on the issue that rose actually recently about the fraud of $1 billion getting lost from the Minnesota taxpayers' money. And this issue has brought a mixed reaction in the United States of America. Let's get to have a look.
Community leaders are not backing down, continuing to stand together to denounce the ramped-up ICE operations here targeting Somali immigrants, many of whom are here legally. Many Somali immigrants in Minnesota, they are U.S. citizens, so the community advocates that we've talked to say the president's rhetoric is dangerous.
Amidst this crackdown, the Somali community leaders have come out to condemn what President Trump is trying to do by saying that the Somali community is a hardworking community that has contributed greatly into that society, and they have got the right, and some of them actually are citizens of America, and so that is not right for the government to target.
What President Trump and most of the public who are attacking our community is not aware of is the success of this great community. And I believe personally that is why we're being targeted, and that's why we're being attacked.
This happening has sparked rage and anger among the Somali communities in America as well as Mogadishu, that is back home in Somali, as they claim that President Trump had no right to call them garbage. And surely that was quite ridiculous. And Somali communities have been seen in hundreds of their numbers rioting and picketing on the streets, condemning the President of the United States of having no whatsoever right to refer unto them with insults or the words of abuse.
Protesting against Trump's insulting words, calling us garbage. We are not garbage. He is the one who is trash. Since he failed in his politics, he's trying to divert public attention. There are more than 250,000 people of Somali descent living in the US, including Democratic Congresswoman Ilhan Omar. Demonstrators waved banners and images of Omar and chanted anti-Trump slogans. Trump has violated our dignity, and we will not accept what he called us. We are Somalis and we have our own pride. He does not understand this. Trump's attack on Somali Americans was triggered by reports of fraud in social security programs in Minnesota, which is home to a large Somali community. Minnesota Governor Tim Walz has condemned Trump's comments.
Trump's derogatory remarks about Somalia have ignited widespread resentment and unified the Somali people against him. As the U.S. president, he bears great responsibility and influence. It's crucial to acknowledge Somalia's dignity and sovereignty. We are the lions of Africa.
شعب الصوماليات شرف له أو كرامة له اللي هو مقعدري Lion of Africa.
We are organizing a protest in response to Trump's recent discriminatory remarks about Somali people. Such statements are unacceptable, and we must stand up against his racism. Let us unite and make our voices heard in defense of dignity and respect for all. Somalia boasts a rich and extensive history that should never be undermined. It is a nation filled with great dignity and has always upheld its sovereignty with pride, and it is not garbage.
Invited for an interview in Fox News studio, Ilhan Omar, the congresswoman of Minnesota of the Somali origin, spoke words that really shocked the entire America. The lady said that if the money that was lost fell into the hands of the terrorism, then the FBI and the Court of Justice system is to be blamed, a word that has left Americans wondering what the congresswoman had to speak, doing with such words.
All right, Minnesota Congresswoman Ilhan Omar responding to her state's massive welfare fraud scandal, pinning the blame not on the criminals, but those working to protect the American people.
If there was a linkage in that the money that they had stolen going to terrorism, then that is a failure of the FBI and our court system in not figuring that out and basically charging them.
Host of My View, Laura Trump, joins us now. Laura, thank you so much for joining us. So what do you think about that explanation there? Ilhan Omar saying that if taxpayer money did in fact go to the al-Shabaab terrorist organization, it would be a failing on the part of the FBI for not figuring it out.
Yeah, she sounded super confident in that answer, didn't she, Carly? She could not figure out how she was going to convince people that that was the case, but she said it anyway. It's ridiculous. Of course, the only failure here is from the people who are in leadership positions in Minnesota who allowed this fraud scheme to happen. And I'm looking at Ilhan Omar and I'm looking at Tim Walz, and they really are in the crosshairs of this whole thing. And a lot of people are wondering how it is humanly possible that this was allowed to happen. And this thing is huge. You talk to the White House and they have said, look, this is probably so much bigger and far reaching than just Minnesota. We know $1 billion was stolen from the taxpayers there in Minnesota. The White House says it actually is probably just scratching the surface. That's just the tip of the iceberg. And, you have the Treasury saying we do have connections through millions of dollars they think was sent to Somalia, and that ultimately did end up in the hands of terrorists, as al-Shabaab terrorists. And so I think that's, of course, a ridiculous answer, but you're going to hear a lot more of that from Ilhan Omar, from Tim Walz. They're going to do a lot of jazz hands and trying to convince people to look the other way, because they are, again, the ones that everyone is looking at and saying, how is it that you were either so grossly incompetent or maybe willfully incompetent that you allowed this to happen in the state of Minnesota? Minnesota deserves better. The American people deserve better. And you know what? The only way they're going to clear their names is by asking for a full-throated, deep investigation and holding those responsible accountable for this.
Yeah, Laura, this is a pretty brazen time to be going on offense against the Trump administration after such a ridiculous fraud. Stephen Miller said that this is one of, if not the biggest frauds in American history, a waste of taxpayer money. And Omar is going back at Stephen Miller. Listen to what she had to say.
I mean, when I think about Stephen Miller and his white supremacist rhetoric, it reminds me, yes, it reminds me of the way the Nazis described Jewish people in Germany.
So a reminder for our viewers, Stephen Miller is Jewish. Laura, your response to those comments?
Yeah, Nate, this is the knee-jerk reaction we know of anybody on the left to try to call people, conservatives and people, especially in the Trump administration, Nazis. Of course, as you pointed out, Stephen Miller is Jewish. That is absolutely insane. But this is what you say whenever you have no response. This is what you say to deflect from your failure as a congresswoman from this area in Minnesota. That should surprise absolutely nobody. What we're trying to see happen now as a country is transparency brought everywhere. That's what this administration, this president is about. We want to know at the end of the day who failed the people of Minnesota here. And I can guarantee you, the FBI we have now is much different than the FBI under Joe Biden. They will look into this. They will investigate. They will find out exactly what happened. And I think Ilhan Omar is probably going to be doing a lot of tap dancing in the foreseeable future, because I don't think she's got a lot of good explanations for how $1 billion from her state just, went missing from the taxpayer funding.
Well, Governor Tim Walz is also up for re-election, so we will have to wait and see if this scandal is big enough to change the hands of political power in the state as well. Laura, thank you so much.
How does it look like when the government has intensified its operation against the society? That is what the Somalis are going through right now in the United States of America. They are hiding in their houses. Their shops are closed. They cannot go do shopping because the ICE agents are on their backs. Their leaders are trying to curb the situation, but things are moving from bad into worse. For President Trump is determined to wipe all the Somalis out of America, returning them back into that unbearable East African country. What do you think? When you look at this video that is following next, you are going to be shocked on what the Somalis are going through right now in the United States of America. Let's get to have a look.
The saddest part is that when my daughter asked me, why us? Why is he picking? Why is he, single us out? Why is he calling us garbage? How do you answer something like that? He continued to attack people that don't look like him, that don't have the same beliefs, that are different somehow. But one thing that all of us have in common, we're all Americans. We all love this country and call this country home. And for him saying what he say, it doesn't define us. And I'm going to push back. I'm going to continue to tell our president, sir, stop dividing Americans, stop putting them versus us versus them.
The fear among the Somali community is real. Like this mall, if you come to around noon, nobody's here. It is deserted. Every business is closed, and it has been like this for the last 3 days. And we are really, as small business owner, I'm scared that people are not showing up to buy from me. And I am like, I don't want to close my business. And this community is full of fear. They don't want to come out. And a lot of businesses are closed. They are not able to come and work and pay their rent. So I don't know what's going to happen. The future today, as of today, the future doesn't look bright. I think he's just doing it because I think he's not doing a great job as president. And that's why he has to create other problem and hate, as he always does. Whenever something is not going the right way, he always creates like divergency and problems between communities, so that the communities don't focus on what he's doing wrong, and they focus on each other and hating on each other.
Collectively, the Somali community is fearful. And you could see around the mall a lot of vacant stores, a lot of closed stores, and no foot traffic. People are hiding in their homes. It feels very irresponsible of him. I know we've all become accustomed to him acting very rash and just saying whatever he feels at the moment, but that's no way to run a country, and that's no way to be the leader of the free world. My personal opinion is perhaps he's deflecting from the failed economy. He said he would bring back jobs. He hasn't. The economy is sinking. People don't have money to spend. No discretional spending. The Black Friday that we just passed was one of the worst that I can ever remember.
The mayor of Minneapolis, Jacob Frey, is saying that he's actually proud to have the largest Somali community in the country, and his police chief.
Well, then he's a fool.
Well, his police chief is also
I
saying
wouldn't be
they
proud to have the largest Somalian. Look at their nation. Look how bad their nation is. It's not even a nation. It's just people walking around killing each other. Look, these Somalians have taken billions of dollars out of our country, and the Somalians should be out of here. They've destroyed our country, and all they do is complain, complain, complain. So Somalia is considered by many to be the worst country on earth. I don't know. I haven't been there. I won't be there anytime soon, I hope. But what Somalia, what the Somalian people have done to Minnesota is not even believable. It's not even believable. To see if they can stop it, because they make money if this country does badly.
The US government has always been offering greatest refuge for the Somali immigrants, mostly considered to have come from a very hostile neighborhood or society, as Somalia is a land that has been known for quite a long time with the ethnicity division and the intertribal wars. And so the US resettles thousands of refugees from Somali, and also US has supported the organizations like Somali America Partnership Advocate for Somali Rights and provide resources. Government initiatives. These are some of the supports that America offers to Somali citizens that have actually sought asylum in Somalia. And so some cities have implemented policies to support immigrants' communities, including language access and cultural sensitivity training. These are some of the benefits that Somalis receive from the United States of America. What do you think that is going to happen to the Somali society? And when they are deported, where are they going to go to? I believe that the government of America should have considered by doing investigations, because American government has got the very high standard of the intel and the investigation system that can be able to identify who was involved in the fraud and who was not involved. Because right now, as we are speaking, all the Somalis have become free of what is happening right now out of the fraud that actually was conducted in Minnesota. And on the other hand, it might not be very suitable or pleasant to the government of United States of America on how the Somali representative in the House of Congress, Omar Ilan, spoke by saying that money that got lost, how did it actually end up into the hands of the terrorists? That could have actually fired up or fanned up the fire of the cracking down on the Somali citizens. Meanwhile, every government or every regime has got its way of leading, and President Trump has had in his mind that he wants not only Somalis but the African Americans out of the United States of America. And this could have been a leeway of trying to cement that decision and make it become so impactful, more so against the Somali citizens. I want you to leave at the comment section, because we want to understand that, do you think it was right for the President Trump to lay a crackdown over all the Somali citizens that are living in America, or it was right for President Trump only to pursue those that were found guilty with the fraud case? Thank you for watching, and we really appreciate your continuous support. Please remember to like, share, and subscribe. My name is Maxwell. Meet you next time. Take care.